On the menu today? Wait a minute, do we have a previously never seen before Commodore 64?
Welcome.
No, don't worry, we won't split you in half. Oh, hello Chip Dippers. Welcome to another Quick Bites, a retro recipe without all the bells and whistles.
Commodore 64. I need a Commodore.
Thank you. Chicken lips. Anyway, she is right to be whistling about Commodores because Commodore 64 was, of course, the best-selling home computer of all time, still is. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, that's right, it sold around 30 million units. And you might have seen this week on eBay, Fleabay, this very strange-looking split-level Commodore 64. It's a Commodore 64 that's been essentially cut in half, separating out the PCB to the back half and the keyboard at the front on its own. But I don't have any idea what this is. I also reached out to Bill Hurd, who of course was the designer of the +4 and the 128. He doesn't know either what this monster is. And I also reached out to the 9-bit guy.
8-bit guy.
Sorry?
The 8-bit guy.
Oh, sorry, yeah. I have to stop saying that. The 8-bit guy, the extra bit was for parity. Even he doesn't know what it is. There is one, yes, not boring and totally mind-blowing theory that I'm going to share with you. I still can't quite believe that could be true, but we'll see. So there's only one way to solve this puzzle. I bought it. Yes, I ordered it on eBay, Fleabay. I'm getting funny looks from behind the camera. Of course, if you do want to support the channel to help with these kind of purchases, you can check out our Patreon or YouTube channel memberships. But all that remains is for me to wait for it to arrive. I just heard that it is out for delivery today. But yeah, I'm not that excited to get it. I mean, it's just a really rare Commodore 64 that nobody's ever seen. But I buy things on eBay all the time. I'm not excited at all. Are you? It's here! Oh my god, it's here! Come on!
Okay, I guess I'm turning this off.
Get the lizard. Gotcha. Say bye to the lizard. Right, we'll just unravel these wires before we open the box. Just unravel these. Guess I'll do that another time. But inside here is the special Commodore 64. Is it plural? It's a C64 split in two. Inside here is the special Commodore's 64s. Yeah. Oh no. Oh, that's disappointing. Well, let's open her up. Or him. Them. And while the bases are plastic, these parts to hold the ribbon cable next to the case opening are fashioned from wood, which makes this feel like it perhaps wasn't a commercial product. It's weird, it's like a bit of both. But having some experience in factory manufacturing of products, I can say these bases are definitely injection molded. This nodule here is where the liquid plastic is fed in through the tooling, and to make that tooling would have cost them about $30,000, which completely rules out this being a one-off homebrew hack. And actually both these plastic pieces are identical. This gap that sits above the joystick ports on the base piece, when flipped 180 degrees to go under the keyboard top piece, becomes a slot for the ribbon cable to come out of. It's actually quite clever. And inside, it's just a regular Commodore 64. The motherboard is the common revision number 250407, and these codes on the chips are date codes, so we can see, for example, that the SID chip was made in week 34 of 1983. Nothing unusual in here. Though I can confirm it wasn't made by... Oh, thanks Harley Fractic from the Game Closet channel. I've got competition. Speaking of which, check out PCBWay's new PCB design competition and their great PCBs from just $5. Because as we all know, PCB stands for Prototype Commodore Boxes. Well, we'll see in a second. First, let's put it back together and see how it might be used in a real setup before we try to discover what the beastie even is. Now, it could be used in this stacked configuration, allowing easier access to the ports at the front for hot swapping game cartridges, for example, for more of a games console feel. But what I think makes more sense is putting the central processing unit behind the keyboard, just like a Commodore 128D, which is what happened when Commodore took the C128 and separated it out in the same way, adding a 5¼ disk drive. No disk drive here, of course, but we'll come to that. So let's add a monitor to see how a Commodore 64D might look. And it's actually quite nice, isn't it? The main benefit of this setup, of course, is it moves all the cables to the back of your desk instead of trailing across it. But would people really dissect their Commodore 64 en masse for that small benefit? Either way, I can't quite get used to looking at this. The best-selling home computer ever, in a guise somehow never seen before in nearly 40 years. And let's complete that business look. Oh, mustn't forget the paper. Okay, so enough teasing. What is this thing and why does it exist? Well, I have two theories, and I'm going to start with the most exciting. In April 1989, long after Bill Hurd had left Commodore, meaning Puppy Fractic was right, he wouldn't have heard, rumors started flooding the computer press that Commodore was creating a Commodore 64D. Yep, a split-level Commodore 64 packaged like a Commodore 128D with a motherboard built into a separate console from the keyboard. Sound familiar? And courtesy of Home Computer Museum in the Netherlands, here's a look at an aftermarket conversion kit, the CompuCase 64D, released when it became clear that Commodore were never going to manufacture their version. But how close did they get? Well, another separate rumor surrounding the 64D name was that it would be an all-in-one machine like the Amiga 500, with the disk drive built into the keyboard part. That was, of course, actually the Commodore 65, before it too was sadly scrapped during development in favor of the Amiga itself. Though, of course, the C65 is now being brought back to life as the fantastic Mega 65 project. But while a handful of prototypes do exist for the C65, where are the prototypes for the split-level C64D? I mean, someone at Commodore had to have mocked something physical up, right? Even just a proof of... Wait a minute. Do we have a previously never seen before Commodore 64? Having realized this possibility, walking back to where I'd left it with a completely new perspective on what it actually could be was an incredible feeling. Feels cheesy. Now clearly it isn't a full prototype. There's no disk drive, but it's just possible it could be a proof of concept mock-up. Commodore would definitely have made one as a first step, wouldn't they? And for a company that had sold 30 million C64s, turning over $17 billion out there in the market, throwing 30 grand at tooling to see how separating things out felt and worked isn't that far-fetched, perhaps. If that's what we have here, whilst it wouldn't be as important as, say, an Apple I, it's still an incredible thought. A Commodore C64D one. Eat that, Apple. Don't eat that apple. You know what I mean. Indeed, on the forums when I presented some pictures of this machine, a lot of people voiced the same theory, that that's what this could be. But of course there's another theory, also suggested by commenters. This could be an aftermarket third-party product, designed perhaps for those seeking a tidy desk, or for factory environments where it would be desirable to move the motherboard away from a dirty work area and behind glass, whilst the business end with the keys on was exposed to the elements. One commenter saw something similar in a CNC tooling factory, though he said that one was made of metal, and another person thought he saw a different but similar thing at a paint sprayer's. But if this was used at a factory, why is it so darn clean? But my real problem with that theory is, apart from the eBay seller, not a single soul has ever seen this product before. And despite me and others spending days searching magazines on the Internet Archive, there isn't even an advert for one of these, which is almost unthinkable if a small company spent big money to mass produce it. I mean, where did the masses go? Why have I never seen one? Why has the 9-bit guy never seen one?
8-bit guy.
Or was this too just a stalled prototype from a third party? Well, call me biased.
You're biased.
But I'd love to believe it is a one-of-a-kind proof-of-concept prototype crafted at Commodore HQ, and not just a product made with expensive tooling that was then helping to make more tooling.
Machines making machines? How perverse.
So there it is. What is this thing? Well, I think for the first time ever, I'm completely 50-50, like she is about staying, as to what we've got here. I literally don't know if this is a third-party aftermarket product or a really rare prototype. I better put it down properly so I don't drop it. I'm hoping somebody other than Bill Hurd or the 9-bit guy,
8-bit guy.
will know what it is. And if you do, please comment below and I will pin your comment if we do get an answer. Other than that, it just remains for me to say thanks for watching. As always, please subscribe and support below. And
Cheerio.
Commodore 64D was released in 1987 by a Dutch company called Smolts Unternemingsberatung GmbH.
bless you.
What means management consulting. It's not made to, last for 30 years or so. Anyway,